Welcome back, guys! Today we're saying goodbye to one of the most iconic cards in eFootball history. A card that carried millions of free-to-play players, terrorized defenders for years, and became the definition of a meta striker. That's right, we're talking about the old France Mbappé. And if you've played eFootball for a long time, you already know exactly how special this card was. There was a time when it felt like every second opponent had him in their starting lineup. It didn't matter if it was division matches, events, or friendlies. The moment you saw that France Mbappé card on the loading screen, you already knew you were in trouble. But now things have changed. Konami have released a new France pack Mbappé, and for the first time ever, it genuinely feels like the old king has finally been challenged. So today we're breaking down whether the France Mbappé everyone loved is finally heading into retirement. First, let's clear something up. A lot of players call the new Mbappé free, but that's not really accurate. Yes, he's guaranteed, but only if you buy the France pack for 2,000 coins. The old version was accessible without spending on a premium national pack. So while both are guaranteed, the investment is very different. That's why the debate is so heated. Is the new one really worth replacing the old legend? Let's start with the classic card. The old France Mbappé was a 100 rated goal poacher, but that rating never told the full story. With 94 offensive awareness, 90 ball control, 95 dribbling, 96 speed, 98 acceleration, and 93 balance, he was one of the smoothest attackers the game has ever seen. This card wasn't just fast, he was effortless. You could receive the ball, turn instantly, and explode past defenders before they even reacted. His dribbling combined with balance made him incredibly hard to dispossess. Even when defenders made contact, he often shrugged it off and kept going. And then there was the pace. 96 speed and 98 acceleration at the time felt broken. One through ball and he was gone. Add 94 offensive awareness, and he constantly made intelligent runs behind defensive lines. In short, the card almost played itself. That's why players loved him. No complexity, no conditions, just pure effectiveness. But eFootball today is not the same game it was when that card first dropped. Defenders are stronger, faster, and more responsive. The overall power level of cards has increased massively. That means older cards naturally lose some dominance over time. Not because they are nerfed, but because of power creep. And now we have the new Mbappé. On paper, the upgrades look small, but in practice, they matter a lot. The new version has 98 speed and 98 acceleration, making him even quicker than before. And when you're already one of the fastest players in the game, that extra boost becomes terrifying. Finishing also gets a slight upgrade from 90 to 91. It doesn't sound like much, but in tight matches, that extra consistency shows. The biggest change, though, is kicking power jumping from 80 to 90. This completely transforms how he strikes the ball. Shots are faster, cleaner, and goalkeepers have less time to react. Suddenly, he doesn't just score. He finishes with authority. Another big upgrade is physical contact, going from 67 to 74. The old Mbappé sometimes struggled when stronger defenders leaned into him, but the new version holds up much better in duels. He's still not a powerhouse, but he's no longer easily bullied off the ball. Stamina is also a huge improvement, jumping from 79 to 88. This means he can make constant runs throughout the entire match without fading late on. The old version sometimes disappeared in extra time, but the new one stays dangerous until the final whistle. However, the old Mbappé still has his strengths. He beats the new version in ball control, dribbling, tight possession, and balance. And that's where things get interesting. The old card still feels smoother on the ball. He's more responsive in tight spaces and better for players who like to dribble through defenders manually. So what we really have is two different playstyles. The old Mbappé is smoother, more technical, and better on the ball. The new Mbappé is faster, stronger, and more clinical in front of goal. One creates chaos, the other finishes it. And honestly, that feels intentional from Konami. They didn't want a copy of the old card. They wanted a clear upgrade path that fits the modern meta. More speed, more power, more stamina, more finishing impact. So, should you replace the old Mbappé? Not necessarily. If you already have him, he is still elite and still very usable. But if you want the most complete version of Mbappé in today's eFootball, the new one is simply better suited to the current game. At the end of the day, the old France Mbappé will always be a legend. A card that defined an era and carried countless players. But football and eFootball moves forward.